In this video, we visit the world's most famous recording studio, EMI's Abbey Road Studios in London. Let's start at the very beginning. Sir Edward Elgar officially opened the studios on the 12th of November 1931.
Good morning, gentlemen. Please play this tune as though you've never heard it before.
It was 2 years earlier that an employee of the company, which was then called the Gramophone Company, decided they needed a purpose-built studio. A site was chosen at number 3 Abbey Road in St John's Wood, London. One of Abbey Road's regulars was Sir Yehudi Menuhin. In 1932, he recorded Elgar's violin concerto, and he recalls how he felt when he recorded that in Studio One.
I was very excited, but more about working with Sir Edward.
And I was amazed at this man who evoked so much love and response from the musicians without apparently bothering himself at all. I don't think he strained or sweated or exhorted or admonished, none of that. He just stood there and they played. And I was amazed at this exhibition of Englishness.
In 1944, Glenn Miller made his very last recordings at Abbey Road Studios, just before his plane was lost over the English Channel. The war years were lean years for Abbey Road Studios, with many staff conscripted into vital roles for the war effort. But the 1950s saw a young man join the staff, George Martin. He was attached to the Parlophone label and had a taste for comedy. He worked with many comedy stars, including Spike Milligan.
George Martin was, I suppose, the most hip of the producers of records at the time. He was always wanting to do something new. And he got hold of me and said, would you like to write about the bridge over the River Kwai? And he did an incredible job on it, because when he'd been made, some idiot somewhere in some bureaucracy said, you can't call it the bridge over the River Kwai, because many, many men died on that bridge. So he had to nip off out of the tape, and the River Wye was left.
We present The Bridge Over the River Kwai.
You saw the film, you read the book. Now feel the suit as you heard it on the new wide stereophonic phonograph.
Throughout the 1960s, Abbey Road pumped out hit after hit. Billy J. Kramer and the Dakotas, Jerry and the Pacemakers, Cilla Black, the Hollies, Manfred Mann, and Helen Shapiro.
Since I've been away.
And it was all done as a live thing there in the studio, as opposed to me going in on my own, putting a voiceover on a track. I believe that was illegal with the Musicians' Union at the time anyway, to do that. There were fewer people in the business in those days. It wasn't so much of the high-powered industry. Now people talking telephone numbers, it's run by lawyers and accountants. Then it was run, in the main, by people who knew about music.
Abbey Road will always be linked to the Beatles. In 1967, Sgt. Pepper was recorded in Studio 2. These sessions pushed the capability of the studio to the absolute limit. They developed new techniques along the way. The thrust of creativity has long been put down to substances that were consumed. But George Martin wouldn't get involved in that sort of thing, would he?
I was chatting to George recently, and we was talking about Pepper, and I was saying, I objected to the way people always talked about the drug taking in those times. Because I never took drugs. And I said this to him, and he said, yes, you did. I said, of course I didn't. He said, you did. I said, how can you say that, George? He said, because I slipped it in your coffee to keep you awake. I said, you devil.
Goodness gracious.